and talk a little bit about Lucid and how I like to sort of demo this, this solution. And I'm going to start with just clicking on my Lucid client down here. I'm going to move this, and you'll see it mounts right up here. And the beautiful thing about this is it looks just like, you know, any of my local volumes. I've got, you know, my little QNAP server here, which works great. I've got an SNS server over here. These are local shared storage. You know, they're the way we're just used to working. Or a lot of us all have, you know, these little, you know, it's like an OWC Thunderbolt drive. We're just used to connecting things and moving files around to get work done. Remote has just been a challenge because that, especially even for users of Mac OS, for example, just getting a solution that looks and behaves like the file system that you already have. And I think Lucid's done a great job with that. So let's just look at a scenario that says, look, I've got some daily content that I just need to get up into my account onto this this share, and I'm going to just open up my LucidLink demo folder here, and I'm just going to launch this project. But before I do that, I'm going to upload about 3 gigs worth of material, and it uploads fast. The way that this technology works is the first thing that blew me away. I am on a fast connection here, and this is 3.1 gigabytes. It uploads it in about 10 seconds. So they are saturating everything my internet connection has to give, which I just love to see because we can't saturate these things quick enough. And so from here, I'm just gonna show you that I've got this Premiere project. This is a local project running you know, on Lucid, and I'm just gonna launch Premiere locally here on my Mac. By the way, we also decided to show Mac today because we showed Windows last week. So just letting you know that the file system works great on either side. So I'm going to go ahead and launch that. You can also, by the way, with Lucid is, you know, Richie could be on his Windows machine. I could be on my Mac. Assets and projects all work the same, completely interchangeable, and you don't have to worry with that. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to double click down here because I want to go over to my cloud partition here and take a look at this ProRes 444 folder that I just had, and I'm going to import this. And just like I would at any other time, I'm just going to drag and drop this and show you I have complete access to every single frame. There's no waiting, there's no buffering, it just works. And this is the first thing that blew me away. And again, I do this every day, working with customers. And again, if you see me talking about storage for more than about 3 seconds, it's pretty exciting. So I'm also going to put this in what I call nerd mode, which will also, when I bring this up full screen, it's going to show you no drop frames. That's a 4K file, 444, downsample to 1, which means it's at full quality. Start, stop, absolutely responsive. Now, I'm going to do something that Premiere absolutely hates. I'm going to pop over here just to show you that this is truly running off a LucidLink. I'm going to throw this in the trash, and Premiere is going to flip out for a second and go, yo, where's my assets? I just took them away. So those assets were in fact running on Lucid. Another thing that kind of blew me away. So now I've got this project here, and what I'm going to do is I've already converted this project to a cloud project because I just went here and said, convert this local project to a team project. So Richie and I have been collaborating on this back and forth. So I'm going to close this project out. And now what I'm going to do is open the one that's up on Creative Cloud on adobe.com. So I'm going to come over here and say open team project. And I'm going to click on the ones that are owned by me, the ones that I'm sort of managing. And I have that same project up on Creative Cloud. And now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just look at my timeline and go, yep, that looks pretty awesome. And down here at the bottom, I see Richie's been busy. He's done some changes. So I got to, before I really get started, I better find out what he's doing so we don't step on each other's work. Although we do have what I like to call marriage counseling. You know, we do have this window which you'll come up and perform a conflict resolution is actually what the screen's called. So we can figure out who was right in that edit. It's also trying to tell you here that you need to probably download to update that asset. So I'm going to go ahead and just say, okay, let's figure out what he had done. It looks like he had adjusted this this title around. And what I can do is just say, look, I want to go ahead and just stretch this title out. Maybe I'll move it over here a little bit and say, okay, that looks good to me. Now I can send this change to Peter, or to Richie. But before I do that, I want to do something a little unique, because he and I have been working on some new digital rollout of this, and we need to get these on different platforms. We need to get it on Instagram, TikTok, IGTV, these types of things. And we need to really start to work on a 9:16 workflow. And part of the problem with this is that we need to, look at this content, and you'll notice that some of the content is not exactly centered. We've got these horses over here. They're not looking like they're going to be in the center of the screen. How do we really rework this for a 9:16 workflow? Well, it's pretty easy. I can just come right over here, right mouse click, and I'm going to say auto reframe that sequence. And I'm going to choose 9:16 vertical. And I'm just going to come right over here, and I'll just call it for TikTok or whatever there while that's still working. And I'll say, okay, give that a chance to calculate. And what you can't see here is it's generating that right over here. So I'm looking for the progress bar. Looks like that's now complete. And as I come over here, you'll see she's now in the center of the screen. It's adjusted the graphic to make sure that it fits. You'll see that the horses are being tracked. Everything just looks great. So now at this point, I'm going to upload those changes, because Richie's my guy in charge of the digital content. And I'm going to say, in my workflow here, it's always good to put some comments down for the changes that you've made. So when we collaborate, Richie's not caught off guard in case he comes back to this a little bit later. So adjusted text and changed it. I'm going to type today. Change to 9:16 format. And I'm going to share those changes with Richie. So at this point, Richie, I'll turn it over to you and let you comment on what you're seeing on your end. And if you want, you can let you take over the share here. So I'm going to stop sharing and let people see what's happening on your end.
Okay, thank you. I am able to. We'll share my screen here. I think all of that is showing up.
Great.
And I will have noticed that the content was made available to me using that same button on the bottom left-hand side. I can see the TikTok sequence, and my job, because I'm the least capable editor that there ever has been, but I'm very familiar with creating exports and sending it into the next step of the workflow. I'm going to export this piece of media. I'm actually going to change the location. I actually have read access or write access to the read-only location in the LucidLink folder. And I'm going to save that as an appropriate H.264 while the file is actually in process. So I'm going to go ahead and hit export. That file should be showing up in the directory structure in read-only, the read-only directory structure, and there it is. And then my screen will, after it renders, I'm basically running Comcast Business, nothing special on my end, 500 meg down, 35 meg up, and the file is reading the files off the LucidLink share and and I happen to be exporting to that
I
location.
think this is real workflow. For me, as I talked about before, we're not asking people to change the way that they work. Just like I logged into those, local QNAP or SNS server, and I mounted the LucidLink Adobe share. It's just like another available storage to me. It doesn't really make a difference. I can move things in and out, as you saw me. And I think for creators, they just don't want to have to deal with what I call a cyber duck screen, which is, these types of screens where you have this explorer view, what's coming in, what's going out. This is just a very native way. Create folders. Some people have read write access, some people don't. We can set up reviewers. It's really pretty unique. And Richie, you had mentioned, EMAM has got solutions to sort of control some of those assets, and LucidLink's got some other partners as well that can help with that. So I think it really, if you look at it, it's no different than what you might run on any local office share.
That's right. And what it does is it expands you out of the local office, right? Not only the work from home, but we've had customers who have, for example, an LA and a New York branch office with separate teams that, because of having to move the assets back and forth constantly, it just was too complicated to really collaborate on projects, where now that they have the same view to the same assets in the same folder structure, and seeing each other, being able to collaborate real time on this kind of stuff, now they actually have opened this up, which means that their pool of who they can tap for specific jobs or skill sets, or external contractors or whatever it might be, has greatly increased, and done so, just like you said, as if they're just in the office using the same shared storage.
Yeah, and I'll also just add one quick thing. We are working with a lot of corporate customers, broadcast and different media and entertainment customers that are working on huge plans for remote workforce, right? And these are going to take a long time to really vet out and architect. And I have been introducing, Lucid as that, whether it's a permanent step or an interim step, it's worth a look. So if you're in the middle of maybe a huge on-prem planning, you can certainly jump into this to help those content creators sort of keep that media supply chain moving. And I think Lucid fits that gap beautifully. So again, another reason why I'm excited about it.